100 years ago, San Juan County was a sleepy rural farming community. That all changed on October 21st, 1921, when New Mexico's first natural gas well was drilled 1 mile south of Aztec. From this humble beginning, the natural gas industry has, through waves of economic booms, busts, and recoveries, grown into the economic powerhouse that has helped shape Aztec, Farmington, Bloomfield, and the Four Corners region. Before getting into the tale, first we need to fill in the geologic story by introducing the various gas-producing formations. In the Cretaceous era, some 100 million years ago, an inland sea stretched from the Gulf of Mexico up through Canada, covering much of the Four Corners area. The ocean advanced and retreated many times as the sea level changed, layering marine shales that were covered by near-shore beaches and bars, and ultimately by swamps and continental river deposits. Oil and gas was formed by the organic materials that was deposited in these sediments and then broken down and transformed over millions of years. The Farmington sand discovered in that very first well was a very shallow ancient river deposit that really didn't cover much area. So the gas pioneers in Aztec were extremely lucky to hit the narrow channel. The Farmington sand overlays the Fruitland coal, which was formed in the swamps at the edge of the ocean, which overlays a series of sands and deposits that were each given unique names. In order, the Picture Cliffs beach sand, the Deep Ocean Lewis shale, the Mesa Verde beach sand, the Deep Ocean Mancos shale, the Gallup bar sands, the Dakota Delta deposit, and the Entrada dune sands. All of these formations have ultimately been productive. Drilling the very first well took some serious guts and required the support of the whole community. Prior to drilling, a group consisting of J.A. Harry McWilliams, Dell McWilliams, Mr. Poole, Charles Whitford, and Frank Likens banded together to form the Aztec Oil Syndicate. With no money, they borrowed a rig and donated their time, hoping for a gusher. The Aztec Oil Syndicate No. 1 well blew when it hit high-pressure gas at 1,000 feet into the Farmington sandstone. The well blew high into the sky at an estimated 10 million cubic feet of gas per day. The sound of rushing gas could be heard 10 miles away. Although the initial gas well had been a success, there wasn't a market outside of the local area for gas. Therefore, most of the early drilling was for shallow oil west of Farmington, leading to the discoveries of the Ute Dome, Hogback Field, and Rattlesnake Field near Shiprock. Oil could be transported to various markets by train easier than gas. Only a few hundred gas wells were drilled before 1950. But Farmington's life as a one-horse town ended officially in 1951, when El Paso Natural Gas completed a large transmission line to California. With a newfound market for San Juan Basin gas, the pipeline boom was on, resulting in 6,000 gas wells being drilled in the 1950s, primarily in the Picture Cliffs and Mesa Verde sandstones. The Gallup oil sands were also a target, as oil production in the basin had jumped as well. This boom stimulated the largest growth in Farmington's history, expanding the population from 3,572 in 1950 to almost 24,000 in 1960. Besides psychedelics and free love, the 60s brought low oil and gas prices and an associated pause in the frenzy of activity in the San Juan Basin. Nonetheless, another 6,000 wells were drilled in the basin during that decade, as gas production out of the basin continued to increase. Things remained steady until 1973, when the OPEC oil embargo caused prices to spike. Around the same time, San Juan County received regulatory approval for infill drilling in the Mesa Verde. This collective shot in the arm for the basin resulted in 9,400 more wells getting drilled from 1973 through 1985. OPEC again flexed their marketing muscles in the mid-1980s, when Saudi Arabia increased their oil output and glutted the market, causing oil prices to drop from $40 per barrel to just $10 per barrel virtually overnight. The resulting crash left Farmington in a slump, and many people lost their jobs. The local joke was, who has the best crew of geologists in Farmington? Why, J.C. Penney's. The bust didn't last long. Spurred by tax credits and innovative technological advances, development of the Fruitland coal gas brought back the boom. Previous attempts to produce the gas from coal were unsuccessful as the wells put out virtually all water and little gas. All this changed when Amoco drilled a well in 1977 near Cedar Hill, New Mexico, and decided to take the chance and produce the water for a while. While the well produced almost all water at first, over several years of production, the water dropped off and the gas flow picked up, proving the concept of dewatering the coal. It took a decade for the practice to become widespread, but by 1990, the Fruitland coal was all the rage. Since then, some 7,500 Fruitland coal wells have been drilled, making it not just the most prolific formation in the basin, but the most prolific coal bed project on the planet. Gas production in the basin peaked around the year 2000 and has been declining ever since, with much of the recent activity being recompletions in existing well bores where the Uphole Picture Cliffs or Mesa Verde sands are commingled into a deeper Dakota well. However, with horizontal drilling and multi-stage fracking being proven up in shale basins across the nation, the Mancos Shale became the primary target around 2012. Most of the drilling has been in the oily portion on the southern fringe of the basin, resulting in a significant uptick in basin oil production. Most of the future potential is in the center of the basin, with an estimated 50 to 100 trillion cubic feet of reserve potential, more than what has been produced in all other formations combined. Building out the necessary infrastructure and developing those reserves should keep the basin busy for decades to come, if not another 100 years. A lot has changed in the industry over the last century. With limited local housing, oilfield workers were once housed in man camps, located in Kirtland, Gobernador, Lybrook, and Largo Canyon. 3D mapping was done using sticks and a paper map and a lot of imagination. Before fracking was invented, early wells were stimulated by dumping a bunch of nitroglycerin in the hole and setting it off. In another experiment called Gas Buggy, the government even tried to stimulate the reservoir using a nuclear bomb, but it just melted the sandstone into an impermeable mass. Many early rigs met their deaths in a fiery blowout, as well control was sketchy at best and all the formations in the basin were highly pressurized. Production operations have also changed. When a well loaded up with water, pumpers used to just blow the well straight up in the air. Modern regulators would have none of that nowadays. And finally, while industry still negotiates with ranchers, governmental entities, and indigenous tribes, the meetings aren't quite as formal as they used to be. The community has also changed a lot for the better over the last 100 years, with the oil and gas industry being the cornerstone of the local economy. Not only have thousands of people been employed directly in the business, but they are the clientele of every teacher, every banker, every doctor, and every business owner in the region. There are no jobs in the county that ultimately don't trace their way down to oil and gas for a significant portion of their income. With the direct economic impact aside, it has been the people in the industry, not the industry itself, who have made Farmington and San Juan County one of the best places to live. Those original wildcatters weren't the only ones to roll up their sleeves and donate their time to the cause. Oilfield pipe and volunteer oilfield labor has helped build many of the amenities we enjoy, like the original Boys and Girls Club, the San Juan Country Club, and Ricketts Park. And volunteer oilfield labor has always stepped up to serve the community, such as the United Way Day of Caring and the Boys and Girls Club Barbecue. The bottom line is that contributions from companies and individuals in the industry are too numerous to mention and can only be captured in a partial list that I'm sure we're neglecting a major project or two. But it's not a stretch to say that the industry has donated hundreds of millions of dollars and tens of thousands of hours of volunteer time over the last 100 years, making our community the awesome place that it is to live. Nothing better illustrates the desirability of living in San Juan County than when people choose to come back and plant roots here. Through the years, the majors such as El Paso Natural Gas, Amoco, and Southern Union Gas Company have come and gone, each making their own contributions along the way. Most of their assets have been sold several times over to what are now private equity firms or large independents, such as Hillcorp, ICAV, DJR Resources, Enduring, and Lagos Resources. While these new players are all contributing to the community, it has been the local, homegrown companies that have been the backbone of the effort, providing passion and continuity. Many of the local companies are on their third generation, still thriving, still giving back. These are the companies whose employees live local, buy local, and make an impact in the local community. They are the ones who volunteer their money, time, and talents to make Farmington one of the most amazing places in the world to live. A unique example is J. Paul McWilliams, the president of Lagos Resources, a San Juan Basin-focused private equity firm. He happens to be the great-grandson of Del McWilliams and the great-great-nephew of Harry McWilliams, two of the wildcatters who drilled that very first well back in 1921. It doesn't get any more multi-generational than that. In the closing credits, we would like to briefly honor the cast of characters who've paved the way to paving Main Street, so to speak. These individuals, who have all been inducted into the San Juan Basin Hall of Fame through 2021, each played their unique part in the development of the basin and the growth of the industry and our community. Without them, there wouldn't be much history to tell. So without further ado, here are the stars of the show.
I can hear him say, you can't keep up, son, you just can't stay. So pull me some pipe and let me make some holes. We'll finish this well and I'll be ready